Hello, and thank you for joining me here on Sew Stitch Hex. I'm Miss Izzy, and today we're going to be talking about alternative methods for cleansing your home. Now, I don't know about you, but I have a slight aversion to smoke, mostly because I am allergic to grass. Now, I know what you're thinking. The person who works with the Fae, who likes to be outside, who lives in the South, is allergic to grass. The environment must hate me, I know. Or maybe I just make poor decisions. But I work with it anyway. Doesn't stop me. I know a few days ago I was at a bonfire. That was wonderful, even though I was feeling it the next day. But there are alternative methods to cleanse your home, and that's what we're going to talk about today. So you don't have to use smoke cleansing for everything. You don't have to use a bundle with sage or otherwise. You don't have to use Palo Santo, which these things are also endangered. So a lot of places that are selling these items are being over harvested. A lot of the problems with this are that it's energetically and spiritually it's lacking because it's been used up. It's just being harvested and harvested and harvested, and there's not as much quality to it anymore. Now, I'm not saying there aren't quality sage suppliers. I'm not saying there aren't quality Palo Santo providers, but it's running low, and we're just using it up because it's popular. But it doesn't really need to be. I mean, if you want to use a bundle, you could make it from your local environment. If I were to make one, I would use maybe juniper, clover. I could use lemongrass, rosemary, willow would be lovely if I wanted to include some wood in the bundle. Pine needles. These are just things that I could use in my immediate local environment. And you can research different things that you can use from yours. Things that you would see just going outside and wildcrafting, knowing your environment, researching your actual backyard. And I always promote research. I promote knowing what you're dealing with. Know what's in your yard. It will make you a wiser witch. It'll make your practice even better. And I just love this. I do a lot of research on poisons because I adore poisons. So I know a lot about the differences in lace and hemlock, and just the other day I was researching just for visual aids, and I found lovely, lovely sources. They're beautiful. I might do a video on that in one of my wildcrafting, which will be coming. I'm waiting on the heat to cool down just a little bit. But you could do a naturally sourced sage bundle. It's a smudge stick, but for those who don't know, it's a smudge stick. I'll just call it a sage bundle. But if it's not using sage, obviously not. But you can make them at home, and that's a fun craft. Because I don't use any smoke cleansing methods. I mean, I have incense, and I will burn them if they are going to be in the other side of the room, and I just feel like having a nice scent. And I'll use candles occasionally, but I try not to have too many opposing scents. I like things that don't use smoke. So on to today's main topic, the alternative methods for cleansing your home. So when I go about cleansing, I usually use something, especially on my bedroom door, I put bells. Because you can use sound or music even to cleanse the area. It cleanses the space and energetically still works as a cleansing tool. As a modern witch, you could do something like have a cleansing playlist on Spotify, hit play, and then cleanse your space in a way. Maybe you cleanse with rock, because that's what rocks your world. Maybe you listen to rap to cleanse your space and tell the spirits to get out. That's cool. You do you. I usually use bells and wind chimes just because I really love the tingly noises. But that's my preference. And you can get bells like this anywhere. I believe I got this one over at the Dollar Tree last Halloween. But you can get it literally anywhere. Like, bells are pretty much a safe bet to get anywhere. You can even get them at the flea market. You can probably get really cool antique ones and use them throughout the room. But you don't have to use bells. You could use the sound bowls and use the waves to energetically cleanse an individual or the whole space. And that's just with sound. You could also use a physical object. Like, I have lots of rocks. Here I have rose quartz and some fairy quartz that are just precious. I don't think it's gonna do. But the fairy quartz is super sparkly, and I think it's adorable. And the rose quartz for self-healing and self-love, and it's pink. Oh, have it all over the house. At one point, I was so stressed. I really wanted to keep my space more energetically clear. So I had rocks all over the house. I had linen closet rocks. I had kitchen supply closet rocks. I had rocks everywhere. It was like, why do you need linen closet rocks? I don't know. I'm wrapping them in the towels. I'm just so stressed. Well, I felt better. Apparently, I needed a lot of help, so that's what I did. I usually keep rocks in all the main rooms, though. I like rocks. Plus, they're pretty, and they're nice and decorative. And if you are trying to hide your craft for some reason, that is a good way to slip it in without people noticing, because it's just, oh, that's a decorative rock. Those are so trendy. And it's a minimalist way to decorate without having some art deco on your wall or a large tapestry. Another way, if you do want something that feels more or less actual, I don't know, say you don't really feel that vibe with the spiritual physical items, you want something more spray, you want that herb. Well, you can do that. You can have oils. You can anoint yourself for rituals. You can anoint objects like candles. You can anoint your living space. I'll put some on doors and windows when I'm trying to cleanse an area. You can also do Florida water. This is very popular and is usually used with voodoo practitioners, but anyone can realistically use Florida water. You can get it from botanicas. You can make it yourself. And depending on your recipe, it can be more or less complex. The recipe I have is extremely complex and is not easy to do, nor is it technically cheap because it has so many ingredients. But it's lovely. Another thing you could do is have water or other oils, I guess. But I use water infused with the herb that I enjoy. This is dragon's blood incense that I got on, I want to say Amazon. It is lovely. I love dragon's blood. It's very chaotic and energetically, and I feel that. I am so chaotic. I'm so all over the place. I'm always doing 15 things at once, and this vibes with me and makes me feel at one in my space. But I also greatly enjoy mugwort because I am more psychically minded. I am of the fairy side, and I love that plant in general just smells lovely, it looks lovely, and I just love it in my space. Say you don't want a liquid, you don't want to make too much of a mess, you want it to be dry, you don't want a texture thing, which this is a texture thing also, but one I don't mind. Eggshells, salt, which this is a recycled jar. This used to be Alfredo. And I cleaned it and recycled. I normally paint my jars and make them super decorative, but this one hasn't made it to that stage yet. This one my mom actually painted for me and made extra pretty. Ta-da! It's a unicorn, for those interested. Little tulle flowers with sparkles on them and little rub-on eyelashes and feathers. But I have eggshells, which you can use in your space and are gentle on the outdoors. You can use them and they won't harm the environment. Whereas salt, I would recommend only using tiny amounts if you have to use them outside, but don't set your circle outside. Don't put a protective barrier around your home unless you really just want to ruin the soil. It pulls the moisture out of the soil, which makes it hard for other things to grow. And you really don't want to hurt your environment. I don't want you to hurt the environment. Fairies don't want you to hurt the environment, and hopefully your gods don't want you to hurt the environment unless they're really just spiteful, because, you kind of need the environment. But I use salt on the indoors, and if you want, you can vacuum it up and just have it spiritually and energetically cleanse the space and then remove the physical remnants of it as if it were the end of the spell, but the energy remains. You don't have to leave it there. And you can use them inside, although I would recommend with eggshells. If you use them inside, definitely clean and sanitize just in case you didn't clean them well enough, unless you were confident in your cleaning of the eggshells, just to prevent bugs and odor from eggs. If there is any little remnants inside, I would be careful, just because of, I know me, and I'm blind as a bat, so that would be something I'd do. Now, my preferred methods out of all that I've listed are the boughs, as I've mentioned, and the rocks, which I know I mentioned I keep some in every room. A fun thing to do in your bedroom, like I do, is I keep large raw selenite sticks by the door, kind of like a gateway. And one of my friends joked that they can picture me bashing a dream demon on the head with this large stick. It's pretty big, unpolished. It's beautiful. It's lovely. I love them. I got them for like $10 for 2 of them, and they're just massive. They're actually got some weight to them. Selenite is fragile. It can shatter really easily, but I've been careful with mine thus far, just in case. But I keep them to keep my space clear as I go in to help prevent any nightmares or any bad fortunes from bestowing anyone who I dream about for some reason. And I also keep desert rose selenite in the 4 corners and under my bed to help promote sleep and to help with insomnia, because I know I have to go to sleep, but sometimes I don't want mentally to go to sleep, and I have this to help prevent that. Now, these are just some things that I do. Some things that I know others have done, which are, there is mild smoke involved in this one ritual, but something I know for the followers of Hecate, you can make your own Kurtis, which is basically you take salt and you bless water. Well, first you bless your salt, and then you bless water and with the salt. And then you can take your Palo Santo, you burn it, and then you would stick it in the water, and then you have your Kurtis, which are made by infusing that into that. Now, this does involve a little bit of smoke, but I've been in rituals with it, and then you would take the water, and you could use it to bless your space, use it to bless individuals. We usually have to throw a very large amount on some of our friends because they need that extra blessing. Love them, but so that's one option that you can do. If you do, you're okay with smoke, but you really don't need a lot of it. So these have just been a couple alternative methods for cleansing your home. Now, I would love to hear how you cleanse your home. What are some ways that you use that don't involve smoke? Do you know of a situation like if you're in a dorm or in a place with someone who has poor health and can't be around smoke? Maybe someone has had problems with their lungs or asthma. And what are ways that you've gotten around cleansing? What are some things that you've done? I'd love for you to comment below. Let me know. Educate me. I'd love to learn something that I don't already know. All right. Thank you for joining me here on Sew Stitch Hex. Like, subscribe, share with a friend. And I hope to cast a spell with you in the next video.